Today is the short story about the plant. This is my third time working on this. The first time it was brainstorming, the second time I started writing. So this is officially the third time working on this story. However, I've also done a stream and videos called Lil Bits, and I worked on the story here. So for example, I took 2 paragraphs and I changed those. So this, or I'm sorry, it was 1 paragraph. It was this paragraph right here. And I changed it. In fact, I'm going to change all of this. It seems to be a lot easier for me if it's spaced out and slightly smaller. 13. I don't want to go too small. This paragraph here has been changed. So now it's 2 paragraphs. If you want to see the reasons why, the Lil Bits video will go up eventually. It'll be on the YouTube channel. And then I also took a couple of paragraphs and changed those, starting here. It goes all the way to before he could. So all of this has been changed. So these 2 that were changed, there's still this line that I wanted to look at again. Or when 4-year-old Faye planted a week's worth of chicken eggs in the garden, dreaming of a magical plant that would bloom into baby chicks. I'll keep it blue for now. Give it another look later. Elm would have understood too. Now, has it been too long since that? His kids would have understood. Rick's son, Nicky, was a window into his own past. More often than not, Nicky shirked his chores. He daydreamed about joining the Kingsguard. The girls didn't seem to be afraid of anything, including their mother's threatening scowls. Other parents would have switched 7-year-old Mari, or when 4-year-old Faye planted. Elm would have understood too. I think that's good. But that wouldn't have stopped her cautioning him away from the alley and its dark figure. That works. Brings us back to the alley. The only thing that I'm questioning now is, does this all fit? His kids would have understood him going into the alley because Nicky daydreams about adventure and the girls aren't afraid of anything. Okay. This is the part that I'm concerned about. Does this match with Rick's fearlessness? Rick's character changed. His personality changed. At first he was afraid, now he's not afraid, so I need to look at that later and make sure it matches with his new personality. Eno would have understood too, though the stranger, and then this has been changed. He was not but a vague outline. On another day or on another person, those eyes combined with that attire would have threatened as surely as the glint of a razor-sharp blade. But the stranger seemed hungry for something other than violence. That's going to stay blue. I haven't decided if I want to keep that or not. It's okay for now. Rick took 2, and then here I was suggesting changes to myself. Again, Rick's personality has changed. He's not hesitant. He's confident. I like that change. Alarmed at the feeling, and again, his personality is different, so enjoying that he was entering an entirely different world. The ocean below the cliffs, scuffing boots, flapping tents, and coins changing hands with a jingle. All faded. And I had a comment when I did this in my little bits. I was considering switching that. All distracting, all noise faded. The ocean below the cliffs, scuffing boots, flapping tents, and coins changing hands with a jingle. Personally, I think it's better. If we go from he was entering an entirely different world and then we're presented with the ocean below the cliffs, we don't know what that means until we get to the end of the sentence. It's better if we know that we're talking about noise. And I'm still not happy with the ocean below the cliffs. That could be stronger. We could just change it to lapping ocean waves below the cliffs. That's a very specific sound. The stranger might have done a trick with the art. It didn't make him dangerous. At least, that's what Rick told himself. So the original, that's what Rick told himself. I'm considering changing it. At least, not yet. But I thought I have not yet down here. So I don't want to use not yet. That's not a good option. At least, not in Rick's estimation. The last one is the best. It reinforces the idea that Rick is not scared, that Rick judges himself, able to overcome any danger that presents itself. Okay. The alley didn't smell as Rick would have expected. There were no signs of trash or food scraps, and their accompanying odors. Rick didn't detect the iron tang of blood. I think that fits really nicely with his character. He's a farmer. He butchers animals. He would be very familiar with the smell of blood. And he would also be very familiar with just smells in general of animal manure, the smells of the animals' bodies. So he would be used to smells. He would be used to detecting them. He might actually be immune to subtle smells because he's so used to these overwhelming odors. Most importantly, there weren't any bodies, drunken or dead, for the morning guards to find. Not yet. Rick considered beating a hasty retreat lest he become dead. That's a big change that needs to happen. I worked on it last night, and looking at it with fresh eyes today, I still don't have a clear idea of what I want to do with that. Rick considered beating a hasty retreat, lest he become just such a body. I could change it. Rick before entering the alley, Rick had considered that he might become just such a body. And then before he could give it any more thought, 2 candles burst to light. But then I feel like this needs more. Rick had considered that he might become just such a body. Rick had considered that he might become just such a body. But felt confident about the stranger's motives. That would fit better with everything that's going on here. So that works. A change of tense, some rewording and adding a little bit more, and something that was troublesome now fits much better. And down here, just changing that little bit, that fits. 2 candles burst to light. They weren't bright enough to blind Rick. They were, however, floating a few inches off the ground. The stranger was definitely using the arm. Okay. The rest of this is still very rough. So I'm going to read through what's here, see if anything jumps out, and then I'll either come back and make edits or I'll just try to continue the story. Depends on where my mind's at. Low enough to permeate outlined the merchant, for that's who the stranger was, and his wares in a soft aquamarine. That's very rough. An odd assortment of goods had been arranged on an equally random selection of plates and mats, no two the same. It looked as if he'd raided a child's bedroom. Yeah, because children collect things that have value to them, but not to anyone else. A bracelet, a stone, 3 cups all chipped in the same location, a feather, a scale, a steaming pie. Yeah, on each side of the collection sat a box, like bookends, like centuries of posts. Roughly the same size, one overflowing with, the other seemingly empty. What should we have the box overflowing with? Something fun, something interesting. What would a box in a dark alley be overflowing with? Lumpy sacks. Lumpy sacks. That's the first thing that pops into my head. I'm thinking about here in Korea. A lot of times I'll be walking down a sidewalk and you'll have an old man or woman and they're literally, they'll just sit on the sidewalk and they'll just put down a mat and then they'll put some products on the mat. So they'll have some kind of beans or a powder, some kinds of powders or some vegetables that they're selling. So they'll have these kind of, usually a plastic bag. But I like the idea that this guy might be selling, that there could be anything in the lumpy sacks. The other Rick leaned forward, one eye on the stranger, to examine the box more closely. Ah, the stranger said, voice smoother than Elm's well-churned butter. A most curious item. What do you see inside the box? To Rick, it looked like nothing more than a glass figurine in the shape of a girl. Probably, I have a name now for his daughter, so the youngest. Faye. I'm using my daughter's name. I need to change that later. I will say the good thing about picking a name and just sticking to it and deciding that you want to change it later is the find and replace tool. I use that a lot. I'll come up with a name for a kind of creature, for a race of creatures in a novel, and then I can easily change it, go back through. So I have a book I wrote where I had trolls. I called them trolls, and I thought, well, I don't want to call them trolls because people already have an idea of what a troll is. So I gave them a different name, and then I just replaced everything. It took a couple of seconds. Although that one was a bit tricky because the word troll also shows up in words like controlled. So when I automatically replaced it, words like controlled got changed too. So you got to look at it. You got to watch and see what it's changing. Okay, so where am I? Faye. Faye's age. What little of the blue light reached the figure over the... I don't want to say figure. Didn't I say figurine? Yeah. So let's stick with figurine. Over the box's walls, made shadows dance within the... Well, now I'm saying figurine 3 times. What little of the blue light reached over the box's walls. Reach could be changed if we want something, a more descriptive action word. Snuck over the box's walls. Groped, grasped. I have this image of fingers reaching over as if the light were hands. Crawled over. Flickered over because it's a candle. Because it's a candle, I want there to be movement. It's reaching. It's crawling over. It's flickering back and forth. I'll come back to that. Made shadows dance within the figurine. Rick was almost certain he saw a faint red glow at its very center. Okay. A little girl, Rick said. Almost looks like one of my girls. Don't let its innocent appearance fool you. A minor demon's soul is trapped within that statue. It changes its shape, enticing us all with comfort and familiarity. To me, the statue is an exact replica of my dear, sweet mother. Hoping someone will take it home, put it on a high shelf, and while they sleep, it will fall and break open, releasing the creature within. But you're selling it. Yes, only 1,000 bits. Okay. I mean, there's small changes that need to be done, obviously. I'll go ahead and add Rick asked. I probably want some kind of facial expression or tone of voice. Yes, the stranger said. Only 1,000 bits. You just told me I'm using just a lot. I've got just here, and I know I have one or two more instances of just. That's something I'm going to have to keep an eye on. Here's just. What little. Okay. I thought there was another one. Regardless, it's something I need to keep an eye on. Watch for how do I spell repetition of just. It's dangerous. I have a family. Why would I ever take something like that into my home? Rick said. I'll need to add motions, probably. That's something that I always try to keep an eye on. I don't want my characters just standing and talking at each other. I generally want them to be doing something, especially if it's advancing the story in some way or helping to illustrate their personality. Oh, all right. I lied. I used a bit of the art to make it glow in the center. Would you believe I sell a dozen of these a week? That's an important paragraph. You know, he didn't look put out at being caught. I lied. He didn't look very put out at being caught, at admitting his deception. His smile suggested he was enjoying himself almost as much as Rick was. The smile should have a little bit of description. His crooked's a good start. His slanting smile, his crescent moon smile, something. And contrast. He has a crooked smile almost as much as Rick was. Though you'd never have guessed as much looking at his expressionless face. I don't necessarily like the idea of him having an expressionless face. The word dubious pops into my mind. But again, saying that he has a dubious expression, maybe we can imagine it. It's probably better to illustrate, paint a picture what Rick's face actually looks like. So describe the eyes, describe his mouth, show the contrast. Probably a frown. Okay, he didn't look very put out, blah, blah, blah. I used a bit of the art to make it glow in the center. Would you believe I sell a dozen of these a week? Doesn't surprise me. Rick drawled. Not much does. Challenge accepted, the stranger said. 2 more candles flickered to life. Life or light? 2 more candles flickered to light, dancing with the same bluish flames. These hovered at chest height between Rick and the stranger. With a performer's flourish, he spread wide one side of his out-of-season cloak. I'm going to cut that. I think it would be better to do something with the color, maybe, but I don't want to say dark. I don't want to keep focusing on, oh, we're in a dark alley. But how has it changed in the bluish light? Bluish light. If anything, it looks blacker because I have a comment that I wrote. Is it didn't want to see voice, watch for repetition of just. I think I put it in one of the little bits documents. So I'll have to open that. Luckily, should be right here. And I believe it's in number 1. Or maybe not. Maybe I accidentally deleted it. Yeah, I don't have any comments. Okay, let's check number 2. Maybe it was in here. I think I deleted it. I think it was in one of the paragraphs that I deleted. Yeah. No problem, because I can go to version history. And I can go to yesterday's. Oh, maybe I can't find it. Because it's not showing the... Oh, you're going to be difficult, aren't you? Okay. I'll make a copy of this. Okay, but where are my comments? Maybe I lost it. I didn't think that was the case. I should have the comments. Oh well. Let's go back. If I have to... Oh, alright. Here's what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to make a copy of this. Version 2. We'll call it version 2. This is really annoying. And I'm going to have to undo everything I did. Because I don't want to lose that. Oh, this is going to be really boring. I don't want to lose that description that I wrote. Is it here? Nope. Here it is. Okay. Yeah, so I deleted it. I thought I copied and pasted it so that I wouldn't lose it. All right, moving on to version 2. I mean, that only took a couple of seconds. That wasn't so bad. So we're down here. I'm going to put a space here. There's a definite transition. We're talking about one thing and now we're talking about another thing. That'll help me later when I'm trying to continue editing it. He's probably if anything it looks blacker, and then I'll put that in there. So when he opens it, Rick imagines a bat about to take flight, imagines he's been lured into this alley by a monster that will clutch him in its talons and take to the sky. But then inside, a dozen pouches hung in neat rows from gleaming hooks sewn into the fabric. Can you guess what I have here? The stranger asked. Oh, I had a thought there and I lost it. Can you guess what I have here? The stranger asked. Voice dripping with anticipation or glee, some emotion there. I don't necessarily want to say voice dripping, it just popped into my head. Seeds, Rick stated, as if it were the most obvious answer. Wrong. They are seeds. The stranger's voice slowed and dropped to an almost inaudible whisper at the end, as he realized what Rick had said. I mean, that's right. He quickly recovered, waving his free hand across the pouches. Yes. Across the pouches. With far too many, maybe with far too much waggling of his fingers. But not just any seeds. Magic seeds, Rick interrupted. That's all well and good. Which would be the best as a present for my youngest daughter? Not your most expensive, not the second most, or even the third most. I'll have a genuine recommendation from you. The stranger seemed to have forgotten how to form words, almost as if he were melting into a bubbling ooze. The change I might make to that, I've already used butter. I could use a simile that connects to the candles and their wax. I'm not going to remember what that means. Change to wax from candles or something from the farm. That's one of the goals of this story, is to try to use farm similes, things that connect to the farm. That's how Rick would think. That's how I want to show us experiencing his story. Tell me about this one, Rick said, feeling a little sorry for the stranger. He needn't have worried. The stranger quickly recovered. What did I say up here? He quickly recovered. Yeah, same thing. I'm just going to mark it for now. This one's better. The stranger quickly recovered, aided by Rick's interest in his wares. So this one will get changed. The stranger quickly recovered, aided by Rick's interest in his wares. Yeah, I was going to have him describe the plant. So maybe I don't want him to quickly recover. Maybe he just recovers slightly. I like the idea that he's really put out. Oh, you wouldn't like this one. It's only slightly magical. The flowers it grows can sing songs. And then I'm thinking of some humor. What kinds of songs? And then the stranger mumbled something under his breath. Rick cleared his throat. A clear enough sign that he hadn't understood. And then I'm trying to think of something humorous. Orcish battle hymns. Elvish, bawdy, elvish limericks. I could change it to poetry. Something humorous, something silly and funny. So yes, it's magical, but there's a twist to it. Oh, it's all the sounds promising. What kinds of songs? I was thinking about adding hesitantly. Rick hesitantly said. Rick said hesitantly. Rick said grudgingly. Rick cleared his throat, a clear enough sign that he hadn't understood. Orcish battle hymns, bawdy elvish limericks. How about this one, Rick asked. And then we're at the monster plant. Okay, so after reading all of that, how do I feel? Describe the monster plant. I haven't really been thinking about this information that I want here. 'Tis but a single seed, but powerful. The only one of its kind. But I need to remember... that Rick specifically said he doesn't want to see the most expensive. So, 'tis but a single seed, but powerful. The only one of its kind. And your most expensive. Not interested. Why don't you... No. You silly program, you don't know grammar. Come on, you don't know. You are most expensive? Not interested. Okay, so but I feel I want the stranger to convince him. So, and you're most expensive, not interested. For anyone else, yes. But you've proven a rare challenge for a wide traveling merchant such as myself. And what did he say? He said, not your most expensive, not the second most, or even the third most. Though, if you loved your daughter, surely you would be willing to spend a bit of coin. He might mutter this under his breath. That popped into my head. And you're most expensive, not interested. For anyone else, yes. Though if you love your daughter, surely you would be willing to spend a bit of coin. But you've proven a rare challenge for a wide traveling merchant such as myself. And if I have him mutter that under his breath, then Rick can... Rick can just raise an eyebrow. But you've proven a rare challenge for a wide traveling merchant such as myself. I'll sell it to you for the price of my fourth most expensive ware. Ware feels weird singular. We always say wares. Have a look at my wares. He deals in illegal wares. And then you'll knock off I don't want to do that. I was gonna say Rick's trying to stay a step ahead of him, so have him knock off the price. But if he tells him to do that before he says the price, the merchant can just say whatever he wants. I'll sell it to you for the price of my fourth most expensive ware. Yeah, see, I agree with you this time, computer. I'm going to change it to item. You could say which is his anticipation clear. A collection of seeds, no two the same, which... So some of this conversation might get cut later, but this is how it just feels in my mind as I'm thinking about it. A collection of seeds, no two the same, which... And then he cuts him off. No. Rick interrupted again. How much? So the little figurine he was trying to sell for 1,000 bits. Is that what I said? Only 1,000 bits. Yeah, I need to mark this. I'm going to make it bold so it's easier to see. That seems like a lot. And I don't know what I want to use as the currency. We'll say 50 bits. It can be yours for a single gold solver. I have this image in my head of the merchant reeling him in. He can smell the sale. So he starts by saying a single, and there's a pause. And then and Rick perks up. I'll work on the exact wording later. Gold. Sovereign. I'll really have to play around with that bit. That could be a fun thing to write, and toying with the structure. Rick perks up, he deflates, and he's back because it seems like such a good deal. Rick perked up, Rick deflated slightly. Rick nearly hovered in the air like one of the blue flamed candles. It's always nice when I can have a simile that connects directly to something in the scene. One of the blue flamed candles. He'd been willing to spend 2, maybe even 3 gold sovereigns. A practiced haggler. I'm spelling everything wrong, right? Oh, I do this a lot. Wait, hold on, wait. You're saying because your document is set to American English. I do this a lot, and I don't know why. I'm constantly writing things in British English. I must just be reading a lot of British English, British authors, without even realizing it. I think most recently I was reading Joe Abercrombie, and I'm pretty sure that he is British. Yeah, British writer. A practiced haggler. Rick fought the smile, spreading fought a smile. I'll leave it at that for now. Simple is better. I practiced haggler. Rick fought a smile. Okay, be careful how much information he reveals. We know it, but we shouldn't know what happened to it. Okay. I still have the comments on, which means... Oh, I think you can see clearly enough. Where was the description? Up here. No, down here. I'll come back and I'll probably expand that. For me personally, writing conversation, it just starts to build its own flow naturally. As I'm writing one bit of dialogue, my mind's already skipping ahead 2, 3, 4 lines. So sometimes I'll write 2 or 3 bits of dialogue, and then my mind's already at the end of the conversation or in the middle of the conversation, and I have to stop and I have to get that down as quickly as I can. It just jumps all over the place. A practiced haggler, Rick fought a smile. That could be the end of that section. That's what I'm thinking about while I'm sitting here silently. Maybe it's a birthday present. They... Even if the seed wasn't really magical, Faye would love the present. Faye would probably love the story almost as much as the present. And that could be the end of that section. Because I wanted to... Okay, comments. I wanted to have the market section. and then have him go home. So how long is that? The text is a bit big, but we're looking at 3, 4. We're looking at, let's say, 4 pages once it's actually the correct size. And it's 1,326 words. Oof. I mean, my goal is to have roughly 6,000 words. Less if possible. So that's not bad if that's 1,000. It's important. I don't think I'm gonna fit. I don't think I'm gonna make that goal of 6,000, because I think I still need to expand that opening section with some more things when they're talking, little bits of movement. But it'll need a couple passes, a couple of rewrites. I can always get feedback from other people, and they'll find things that can be cut. So then the next part would be, let's say part 1 is the market buying the seed. Let's change back to black. Part 2 would be, it doesn't have to be giving her the seed. Part 2 could be pick up with Rick finishing the tale of how he got the seed, admiring sounds from all the gathered family, his children and his wife, plus a coincidental moo from outside, which left the children giggling, or which left the girls giggling. So the part 2 could pick up with him ending the story, and he's made some change to it. And then she can plant it. And then we can actually really see the seed. So she could open it, and we see Faye opens the pouch. We really see the seed for the first time. And they plant it together, show a moment of tenderness between husband and wife. She's proud of him. And also, there's 2 other children. So I'll need to show their characters too. Show Rick giving, orders to the son. There are chores that need to be done. Perhaps the boy has food stuffed in his face, and talks with food in his mouth. All these little details to help show the family dynamic, to help very quickly give us an impression of the family. It's a short story. We can't spend a long time developing characters with these elaborate backstories. We need to see, oh, he's a teenager. He's a teenage boy. He's filled his face with food. He's got chores to do. He rolls his eyes, stomps away to do it. We got to show the other daughter. What's she going to be doing? She'll probably go outside with them. So I think there I'll try to be as concise as I can. I'll try to be really quick. Just give us these boom, boom, boom impressions of the family. Describe the setting, the farm. So we'll take a journey. We'll take a journey through the farm. Journey from the kitchen. They'll be in the kitchen of the farmhouse, outside to the garden. And at the same time, we can show the boy stomping upstairs to his bedroom, possibly. So we have 5 family members. The whole family's in the kitchen. This is the gathering place for the family. They're going to go plant the seed. So father and let's say 2 daughters, they're going to go out and plant the seed. So through them, we'll see the kitchen, we'll see how they get outside, we'll see the farm spread out, and then we'll focus on the garden. So we're going to get all of our settings. Son is going upstairs, so we can describe the fact that he's going upstairs. That's where the bedrooms are. The mom, she'll have some chore that she needs to do, which could give us even more of the setting. So she could either go down into a root cellar or she could go up into the attic. So then we have multiple layers of setting that are being very organically revealed through the character's actions. That'll be really fun to write. I hope I'm not getting a cold. Everyone in my family had it. Somehow I dodged it so far. Yeah, that'll be good. So we'll have father, we'll have Rick, and 2 daughters plant the seed. That'll be that part. And then part 3 will probably be a lot of anticipation, quickly showing life on the farm, resuming its normal course. The youngest daughter watching the patch of dirt for several hours each day. Yeah. That'll be quick. I think that'll be real quick. We want to give a snapshot, a real quick snapshot of just the general life on the farm. And then part 4 will be the plant growing. And it breaks through, or maybe it doesn't even break through. Ooh, yeah. Maybe it shouldn't break through. It should, but not in the garden. There are vines in the root cellar. So that'll be part 4. Realizing that there is something happening with this plant. These vines that are growing through everything. They're down in the root cellar. They're in the walls. More coffee. Coffee Quills is rating. Oh, that's exciting. Welcome, everyone. You're coming kind of at the end. but thanks for coming. Uh, it's yeah. Hey, I heard you need more ideas to tangent on. I I hope you enjoyed that video. Look in the description down below. There's a lot more that you can find. My blog, my self-published novel. I have a stream on Twitch, and there are a lot of other YouTube videos. From the Height of a Mind, I'm Mike.